Alright, hopefully everything is working. Sorry about being late. I'm good, Michelle. How are you? Hey, Beth. Alright, so sorry I'm starting late today. This is the shoe that I am going to be taking apart. I was going to take apart the low top one, except I can't find it. So we're going to do this one, which is fine. It's the same brand as the one that I linked in my event. So it pretty much works the same way. I'm pretty sure most canvas shoes are put together the same way, except for like the Vans that I talked about, because they are one piece, and something about the sole is different, how it's attached. I wish I still had my old ones so I could take a look at them and see if I could take them apart, but actually I might have a new one I would have to take a look at some point. So let's take apart the laces. So on the shoe we have a couple of different pieces. So we have this like rubber toe cap. We have this side piece which connects back here, and then on this side is another side piece, and then we have the tongue, and then we have this part that holds the two side pieces together, this little strip right here, and then inside of that, I don't know if you can tell, but there is a like a reinforcement piece, like what we would call a stabilizer in the bag making world, and when we take it apart you'll see the piece that I'm talking about. So I start with one shoe because I like to have the other shoe for reference. That way if I mess up one shoe I can look at the other one still to see what goes where. And then the nice thing is the stitching on the shoe is contrast, so that you can tell the difference between like where your stitches were, because you don't take out all the stitching. You just take out the ones that are actually connecting things together. So let's start. So this is my bottle of acetone. This is 100% acetone. So it's nail polish remover, but like the super strong kind. So not nail polish remover with acetone, but 100% acetone. Hi Deb. Yes, it is definitely hot. It's really hot in my sewing room. Hey Amy, how are you? So, okay. So what I'm doing now is I'm pushing down the side fabric of the shoe to expose this seam right here. So it's pretty much where the fabric meets the rubber. and you're not really going to see any kind of like break or anything. I guess it depends on how your shoe is made and the quality of it, but mine, like, if you try to force it apart, you're not really going to see like a gap or anything because it's glued together. So I take the, oh, I have a little air conditioner, kind of. It's a sad excuse for a fan. It has a fan, and then it has like a little water container that you can put in it, and it blows out water or blows out cold air at you, but it dies off very quickly. Like, that water does not last long at all. So right now I'm just taking the dropper to help concentrate a amount of acetone right around that seam. So what I'm doing with the acetone is essentially dissolving the adhesive that is holding the shoe together. Hi, Lisa. So it's going to take some time for it to get in there and dissolve. And I just like to try to run my finger around that that seam line where the rubber and the canvas meet to see if I can get a good gap started. Because once you get it started, it's a lot easier. Hi, Sally. So, you know what, we're gonna let this side soak in a little bit, and then we'll apply some on the opposite side so we can get both going at once instead of trying to work on one and then go back and try to do the other. And then let's get this back heel part. So let's let that soak in real quick. I'm going to grab my seam ripper and take a look at your shoe's construction to see where the stitching lines for construction are versus the stitching lines for the decoration. So if you see in here, there you go. So there's a line of stitching right here that's kind of connecting the side to the top of the tongue. So let's just rip those. You know what? Life got so much easier once I actually learned how to properly use a seam ripper. I used to just sit there and pick out one and hope that it would connect to the other still so that I could just take it out in one quick piece, instead of using the inside of the seam ripper as a blade. And like when I finally realized that, I'm so amazed. I was like, I've been using a seam ripper wrong for over 30 years. This is crazy. Alright, so alright, so we took out the stitching on both sides of the top right here. Let's take a little look. So it looks like right here, I can feel a little bit of a bump where the pieces overlap. So it's like the seam allowance, it's a little thicker. So the rubber part doesn't seal as closely right there. So let's take advantage of that gap. And just dump a bunch of acetone in there. I'm also going to just use my pointy end of my seam ripper to kind of help things along. So now I've kind of got a divot started right, where is it? Whoops, right here. See that right there? So now you can kind of tell exactly where it is that you're supposed to try to detach. This is a super long process, so don't do this and expect that your shoe's gonna come apart in 5 minutes. And if you do get your shoe apart in 5 minutes, please tell me how, so that I don't take so long to do it. So these shoes are definitely a labor of love. So as cool as the thought is on, hey, I should custom make these to order, like, I don't think I would ever do that. It's way too much work. But it is pretty cool to say that, you know, you were able to make these shoes yourself. So I learned how to do this via a bunch of different videos on YouTube. Surprise. I found out about it from one of the shops, the small custom shops that I work with for Weft and Warp, Blended Thread Fabrics. They used to have a Facebook group, and there were some people that had posted different shoes that they had made. And I always wanted to do it, and I didn't know how. And I don't know what made me actually decide to buy some shoes and do it. But watched a lot of YouTube videos. Many, many, many times. So while you're doing this, don't tear apart the rubber. So take care not to rip any part, but especially this rubber part, because you're going to put the shoe back together, and that's going to be a little harder to hide. So let me show you my progress so far. Lisa, you can find pure acetone at your most big box stores. Well, first, where are you located? Because here in the U.S., you can find it in the beauty section of most stores where they sell nail polish. Because in the nail polish remover, they should carry 100% acetone as well, because acetone is great for removing nail polish. But like if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that, they will also sell like big containers of 100% acetone in like the section where they have paint thinner and um, turpentine and other chemicals like that. So acetone will also be found there. I bought my specific bottle, this one actually. I got this one from the Dollar Tree. So let me see if I can, there we go. So 100% acetone nail polish remover. And this one comes in a spill-proof pump, which is pretty cool. So I can use this container and not have to worry about like unscrewing a top and having it lay open, or having to unscrew it all the time while I'm trying to use it. So you can just push down on this pump and it'll come up, which is good for when you're actually using it for nail polish remover. Just grab a cotton ball and then push down on the pump and it dispenses right onto the cotton ball. Or you can also go to a place like Sally Beauty Supply and get it. But a big box store or the dollar store is going to be probably the cheapest place for you to get it. I actually only have used acetone, Michelle, so I can't talk about whether or not other materials would work, but I chose acetone because it's, one, something that I keep in my house anyway, because I don't have any patience for nail polish remover that doesn't have acetone. It takes too long to remove. Plus, I do my own nails at home, so like right now, like my nails are gross and super grown out and starting to chip, but this is gel polish, which I do at home with a UV light, and it does not remove with regular nail polish remover. You have to use acetone. Plus, in my experience with acetone, it is, like, I feel like it will dissolve pretty much any kind of substance, including like top coats or finishing coats, lacquers, stuff like that, because it will ruin the finish on furniture and on floors. Ask me how I know. Okay. So inside the shoe, I am going to force up the sole, or the inside sole of the shoe. So mine looks like this, and behind it, there's this other rubber piece that was glued to it, plus some foam that was falling apart. So now that I got this started, it's a little easier to kind of turn out the shoe by pushing the bottom of the shoe out and exposing how it's where the glue is in here. So let's dump a little acetone on there too. Also, by the way, make sure you work in a well-ventilated area. If you have sensitive skin, you might want to wear some gloves while you use acetone. I have worked with it for a lot of my life, so I think my skin already hates me. So the last time I did this, I used pretty much an X-Acto knife in order to pry this apart, which made it faster, but it also made it easier to slice. So if you're slicing through, it's a lot quicker, but it also gives you more room for error, and you could slice directly into the rubber part, which you don't want. So that's why I've used a seam ripper this time to kind of unstick everything. Oh, I forgot to put some, so this white cap, this rubber cap, that part does come apart too. So you want to put a little, well, not a little, you want to put a lot of acetone in there so that that can start to dissolve as well. Yay! There's a light at the end of the tunnel. So once you get inside enough to expose the bottom of the canvas where it folds over, you see it right here. So that is the goal for what you want it to look like around the entire shoe. So don't go too crazy when you use the acetone, and like don't saturate your entire shoe and think that it's going to sit there and soak and dissolve the entire time, because acetone evaporates very quickly. So it's, you know, like on this side, it's pretty much already dry from when I applied it earlier. Okay, so now I'm just using brute force to kind of get it apart. So now I've gotten it apart to where I can see the other side of this kind of transparent golden part of the shoe. I can see that on the inside here. So stick some more acetone in there. Just refill my bottle. So what has everybody been up to lately? I have been working on organizing my sewing fabric, or my bag making fabric. So all of my cottons are nice and organized, but the rest of my fabric still is not organized. And I've made 3 spoon pearls in the last week. So that was really fun. I really enjoyed the make, and I actually started using one of them. I think the next one that I make, I'm going to try to size it up a little bit, just because I can fit my phone into it, but I have to take the case off in order to do that. That doesn't help when you're trying to finish them and you add more. So I'm trying to remember at what point I can just start ripping it apart, instead of doing this and waiting for everything to come apart on its own. But I also don't want to ruin the exterior of the shoe, because, well, like the rubber exterior part, because that is, let me move the camera a little bit. Sorry, I just realized how far away it was, so it was probably hard to see. Oh, nice, Michelle. I would love to see that. I have printed the pattern and put that together, but I have not actually made it yet. So now I'm switched to the other side of the shoe. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Sally. I hope you feel better. What other type of art do you do? Great, I would love to see it, Michelle. Hey, Delva. What Snickers are you talking about? I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, the sneakers. Really? Why not? Well, Lisa, that was really nice of you. I hope your brother appreciates it, because I know not everybody does. They think it's just so easy to sew things and put everything together and don't appreciate the hard work that we put into our projects. Amazon is crazy, but it's because, I guess because they can afford to be. Getting everybody's money. That's really cool, Sally. I have no artistic ability as far as drawing or anything that involves recreating something like a design or even just an image in my head. It just does not work. I do a lot of other things, but that's not one of them. So over the weekend once I finished my last 2 pearls that I did, I decided that I needed a break and I was going to go back to apparel sewing for a couple of projects. And I decided to sew some of my woven patterns, which I have not sewn woven in a long time because I hate all the extra work that goes into it. I hate having to finish the seams. I hate having to press every 2 seconds. I mean, I know in bag making we're supposed to be pressing a lot too, but most of the time I use vinyl, which you can't press anyway, so I don't. But, yeah, I was reminded of why I don't like to make woven patterns. Clothing patterns. So I have, right now I'm finishing a True Bias Ogden cami. It is actually right here. So I just have to, I'm going to go back and redo the seams, or the neckline, and I still have to top stitch, but basically it's just a simple tank top with a strap, and it has an inside lining, or I guess a half lining, or facing you could call it. So I'm looking forward to finishing that. I made a pair of 5 out of 4. That's the designer name. The Lola. Not the Swan Lola. 5 out of 4 Lola. And they are short / pants / capris. So I made the shorts version. And it's super flowy, and it's almost kind of got like a paper bag waist to it. So that I'm almost done with. I just need to decide how long I want to leave the hem and then finish that. I would say that sewing is probably the only art / craft that I do. But aside from that, like, you know, I like to read. I spend a lot of my time reading. I have also binge watched a lot of shows in the past year and a half, more than I would like to admit. Deb, you can totally try to do it. That's why I started with a cheap pair of shoes. Because one, I figure I'm just going to take it apart anyway. Like, do I really care if it's Converse or whatever brand it is? No. Plus, if I mess up, then it's not as big of a deal. Like, I didn't ruin $60 pairs of shoes. I ruined $18 pairs of shoes. So just, if you want to do it, just grab an inexpensive pair of shoes, and that way if it doesn't turn out or doesn't work out the way you wanted it to, you can just chalk that up to entertainment tax. That's what I call it. Because trust me, you are going to get you're going to get at least $18 of entertainment by trying to do this. Whoops. I actually started off sewing garments. I don't know how it happened. I don't know why I decided to buy a sewing machine out of the blue, out of nowhere. And so I bought like a basic Singer off of Amazon. And then I just let it sit in its box, in the Amazon box. So it was in the original packaging, and then it was in the Amazon box, and then it sat in my crawl space for 2 years before I even touched it. And when I decided to touch it, at my Hobby Lobby, I had noticed that there was a local person offering lessons. So I ended up taking a few classes with her, and she was awesome and infinitely helpful. She taught me how to, like, literally we unboxed my machine together. And then she got me started on my first few projects. We made a tote bag, a skirt, a jumper, and then I found the sewing community on Facebook, and I just kind of went from there. Delva. You know what? I tried to pick up knitting last holiday, and I picked up, you know, like all the supplies, and I started off with yarn from like just Joann Fabric, just like basic yarn. And then I found my local yarn shops. So then I went to a couple of them and bought some nice yarn, and then I've done nothing with it. So all my stuff is sitting in a yarn bag downstairs, and I think it's because I don't know if it made my hand hurt due to me having carpal tunnel, or just I wasn't used to that repetitive movement, but my hands hurt for a couple of days after my first bout of sewing or knitting, so I stopped, and it's all still sitting there. Wow, you are also creative. Alright, let's see how much I can force apart. Alright, so this is good. Ready? You can see through the shoe. So let's There, so I got that bottom loosened, and now we just have to get this very back and then the toe cap, and then we should be able to just pull the rest apart. Aw, Amy, I'm sorry to hear that. And you are very welcome. I figure I'm doing it anyway, so might as well aim a camera at it just in case anybody else wants to join me in my journey. Yay! Alright, so we've got the back off. Now we just got to work on getting the toe. You know what's crazy? Like, I'm just thinking about Decoville Light and Pellon and their crazy inability to keep the product in stock. Like, I don't... Can they just... Do they not have the capacity to make more? Is there not enough raw material for them to make more? Do they not want to make money? Sorry, I was just thinking about how hard it is to get as a supplier. And I still have some that I am hoarding, but I am on a, I'm assuming, giant wait list with my supplier to get more. Because I have used, you know, like I know a lot of the smaller companies on Facebook have been coming out with, you know, their own version. So now everybody has blah 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 fuse. But none of them, like, I'm not saying they're bad products, because I actually like some of them, but they're not Decoville Light. It's not the same. And I know this because I have tried to get some earlier this year. I was working with a couple of different manufacturers already pre the drama with one of the big sellers, because I was trying to get something comparable to be able to sell in my shops and in the boxes coming up. And the minute I was like, okay, I need something comparable to this, supplier was like, yeah, we don't have anything comparable to that, because we had, I guess he had another customer send him a sample so that he could see, because that person wanted something like Decoville. And it was a no-go. Like, he was just like, we can't make this. I don't know what it was that they couldn't make, but it's very frustrating that this one item, like, how is there nothing comparable to it? I don't understand. Mm. Delvin, my experience, I had 6 bolts of... I started the shop with 6 bolts of Decoville, and it... And they were all bought from different places at different times, and there wasn't really any issue with them, as far as I know. Why does this tongue feel so impossible to remove? It is literally the last thing that we have to get unstuck. And of course it's the section that I don't want to use too much force on, because I don't want to rip it, because of, again, just like the side of the rubber sole, we're going to be reusing it when we put the shoe back together, so I don't want to damage it. I actually found this shop on Etsy, and they sell you kits so that you can make your own espadrilles. Sorry, that's probably not the right way to pronounce them. And it was really cool. Like, they actually like offer pretty much all of the supplies you need in order to make them, including like the specific thread, the soles, even the fabric. Alright, I lied because I am impatient. I'm using a little bit of force. It's working a little bit, but not enough. Oh! Well, that's one corner. So close. Oops. That's okay. Oh, I need to take a break. I'm sweating. So you can see I've gotten the back completely removed, and I'm almost there with the front. And I ripped the bottom sole, but that's okay. I don't need it. No. So close, but yet so far. Oh my gosh. Oh. This one corner right here just does not want to unstick. So I'm literally just twisting it back and forth and hoping that it'll come out, because, well, no, I got most of it out. So I just have the bottom of the rounded part of the tongue to get out. So we're almost there. Oh yeah, my wrists are totally going to be hurting tomorrow. Oh. Oh, sorry I hit the camera. What are you stuck to in there? Sometimes I wish I was a more patient person. Ugh. Yeah, I know, but it's already so hot in this room that I cannot imagine wearing something else. One more layer is gonna suffocate me. Ooh, I'm almost there. Ugh. So dramatic, I know. Well, I'm gonna take this apart, and we can at least look at the other part. I'm gonna dump more acetone in here and hope that it dissolves the last little bit. so that we can remove it. Okay, so I'm going to let that sit for a little bit while we take this one apart. So I'm going to grab my seam ripper again and take a look at how the shoe is constructed. So you have this pink kind of cardboardy looking thing. It kind of reminds me of Peltex. So, or Decoville Heavy. So that can be, I mean, because as I'm tearing it apart, it's very paper-like. So this we're not saving, so don't worry about what it looks like as it's coming off of here. You know, can you imagine what this piece ends up looking like or smelling like as you wear it? It's paper. It's gonna like absorb once everything gets wet and nasty feet. Okay, so I'm taking this off to reveal the underneath, and I'll show you what I mean. And as you're taking this apart, you might want to take notes or pictures or whatever you need in order to remember what goes where. So now I'm just peeling around the bottom, and this part, we're just going to get rid of it. It's essentially cardboard and crappy foam that we don't need. So that can be tossed. And then we are left with this, and this. So this is the original, like what your feet would sit on. Told you, it's a lot of work. I know I need to redo my nails now that I have all this growth. Should probably pick up some more polished colors though, so I can have more options. So close! This shoe is getting on my nerves. Ah, that's so close. Yay! Alright, So now, what I'm going to do is try to straighten out the piece. And grab our seam ripper again. And we're going to turn in and look at the construction of the shoe. So we have this off-white canvas piece on the inside, and then you can see the black right here interfacing, and then you have the outside canvas piece. So I'm just going to rip the seams on this bottom right here because I know what's there, and that's what I want to show you. So the stitches on this, so there is a line of stitching alongside the bottom of the light canvas part to hold the two canvas pieces together. The blue canvas piece, so the exterior canvas piece, is taller because this bottom wraps under the sole. So this doesn't wrap under the sole, probably just to reduce bulk. And so I took apart the back piece, and then so this is the like heel stabilizer cup thing. So this is like, it feels like thick cardboard, but it's also kind of rubbery at the same time. So I don't know how to describe it, but you will want to keep this too. So if you think that you're going to forget how it goes in the shoe, you can take a marker or a Sharpie, and what I do is I just write on the inside heel, because you're not going to see it, up. So this side is up. And then you have these two pieces now, plus your grommets that are going through them. So I'm going to go ahead and continue taking this apart. Actually, I'm going to save finishing taking this apart for the next one, because we're going to, in the next session together, we are going to make the pattern pieces so that we can cut it out in our fabric of choice. And then we're also going to talk about different fabrics that you can use. So, alright, so to recap, we have the exterior of the shoe. So mine's a high top, it's a little taller. You have the blue exterior piece. You have the off-white interior piece. You have a layer of just black woven interfusing in between the two. Also in between the two, we had this heel stabilizer that kind of just got sandwiched in like so. We have this first piece that goes directly under your foot on the inside of the shoe. So it's a piece of fabric, and then it's got this thin layer of foam that you can see is falling apart, and then that was adhered to this rubber heel slight wedge thing, I guess, for support, maybe. And then we have the tongue piece. So the tongue piece is the off-white inside with the blue exterior. And it is, I don't know what kind of stitches this are. I don't know if this is just an overcast stitch, but I am just going to use my serger when I do it. I'm not sure what Cadora is, Delva. And then you'll notice on the top, like, it is not a straight edge along the side that goes into the tongue of the shoe, or the tip of the shoe, this rubber cap. You have some corners taken out of it, and then you have some like big notches taken out of it, probably for reduced bulk. And then we have our other part of the shoe. So this is just the all rubber part. So you have the rubber sole right here, and then you have the rubber cap. So this is all one piece. So don't bother taking off this rubber piece right here, because you can just leave that attached, and then we're just going to glue our replacement tongue inside like that. So I'm pretty sure it's interfacing, just plain fusible interfacing. It's really thin, it's not thick at all. So, alright, so when we get together next, like I said, we're gonna finish taking this apart, make the pattern pieces, and then we will go through and trace our fabric. So everybody have a wonderful night. Stay cool, because I know for me that's going to be hard in this weather. It's super hot and I have to do yard work this week. So, alright everybody, have a good night. See you soon.